The White Sox play on the West Coast tonight. I'm not allowed to stay up late. We're talking about Shane Smith. We're talking to our favorite diehard Sox Bomb 72, and we'll talk about some pitching prospects in the White Sox organization next on the CHGO White Sox podcast. CHGO White Sox podcast presented to you by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary with our friends over at Bet365. Download their app and use code CHGO365 when you sign up. Welcome into Studio B of our CHGO offices here in the West Loop of Chicago. I'm Sean Anderson, being produced today by my pal Sarah.
Hi.
Hello. On today's show, we'll be talking about Shane Smith. We'll be talking to Melissa, Sox Mom 72, for our Die Hard Day. Was about a week and a half ago. I am a little bit late, but we're getting it in regardless. And we'll talk about some of the prospects in the White Sox farm system that have been standing out, Tanner McDougal being one of them. Tonight, the White Sox will be starting a 3-game series against the Los Angeles Dodgers. It's Shane Smith versus Yoshinobu Yamamoto, a very exciting matchup of young arms. However, before we get into that, I want to talk about some news. The Marlins have claimed Nick Nastrini off waivers. I was surprised that Nick Nastrini was on waivers. The former 24th prospect in the White Sox farm system was claimed off waivers. He was originally required, along with Trace Thompson, White Sox legend, and Jordan Leisure in exchange for Lance Lynn and Joe Kelly for the Dodgers in the 2023 deadline. And it felt like Nastrini would be like the main piece. Leisure hopefully could be a high leverage arm. We'll talk about him in a second. But Nastrini seemed to be the starter and seemed to be a somewhat fair bet because even if he didn't end up being a starter, he could have been somebody that you possibly could have moved to the bullpen because he threw hard-ish. His slider was nice and just never happened to him. He had the ability to pitch with the Sox in 2024 and then just didn't really have everything work out for him. His first start was great, 5 innings, 2 earned runs allowed, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. That was against Kansas City, but then it was up and down, injuries for him throughout 2024, and he just really couldn't make a consistent mark on that 2024 team. Pitched 9 games with the Sox that year, but due to injuries and just poor performance, did not make it throughout the entire year, making 15 plus starts, and then was sent down to Charlotte. And this year was really bad for him. 44 and a third innings, 7.51 ERA for Nastrini. Was over 9 strikeouts per inning, but was near 8 walks per 9. So just really wasn't able to find it. The White Sox thinking they could possibly slide him through waivers off the 40-man, keep him in the system, but the Marlins decided to add him to their 40-man. He's been sent down now to AAA. And just looking back at that trade, not reevaluating it because they made the right move. Rick Williams, Rick Hahn and Kenny Williams in 2023, dealing Lynn and Kelly to the Dodgers. And I thought Leisure and Nastrini were good pieces, and you could talk yourself at the time into these being impact players. Lynn and Kelly really didn't do much for the Dodgers in 23, so you're not really kicking yourself at that. But when you look at Leisure, the last remaining piece of this trade, he's going to need to hit, and he is fairly vomit-inducing. When you watch Jordan Leisure pitch, your stomach gets real tight, your palms get sweaty, your armpits get sweaty, you need Mando. It's not a good feeling. There has not been a moment in his 67 games that he's pitched with the White Sox where Jordan Leisure has felt like, oh, he's arrived. Even in his last game, I think they were able to get out of the inning unscathed with 1 earned run, but he walks 3, gives up a hit, bases are loaded. I think he needed to be relieved anyways. I think they ended up bringing Tyler Alexander in for that inning. So just not a trade that ended up being beneficial for either team, I think, because I don't think Leisure is going to end up hitting. The slider's iffy. The slider doesn't really even find the zone that much, and if it finds the zone, it's really like bottom middle of the zone rather than low and away. So Leisure seems like a real fringe bullpen player. He's getting all the opportunities in the world on this terrible team, even in high leverage situations, and he's just not been able to figure it out. Even in low leverage situations, I don't really trust Jordan Leisure. So that's like the remaining piece from the Lance Lynn, Joe Kelly trade of 2 years ago. Goodbye, Nick Nastrini. We'll see what he does in Miami. I think it's more, maybe this guy can give us innings. If not, oh well, he was free. And we can move on from him if it doesn't work out for the Marlins. Let's go to tonight's game against the Dodgers. 9:10, Yoshinobu Yamamoto versus Shane Smith. Dodgers versus the White Sox as the Sox start a 3-game series against the Dodgers out west. Let's focus on the Sox starting pitcher for today. Shane Smith in his first 9 games with the White Sox, 48 1/3 innings pitched, a 2.05 ERA, 43 strikeouts, 16 walks, only 2 home runs allowed. He was absolutely fantastic in those first 9 games, but in the past 6 games, the wheels have started to fall off a bit for Shane Smith. 26 1/3 innings pitched, only 25 strikeouts in those 26 1/3 innings pitched, 3 home runs allowed, a 5.81 ERA, nearly 16 walks to 25 strikeouts as well, so a pretty close gap there. He's been less effective. It seems mainly because he doesn't have a second pitch to rely on against right-handers. He is fine throwing his four-seam fastball to right-handers, but his current slider isn't working for him against righties. The curveball does get swing and misses, but it also, when it is left in the zone, gets hit fairly hard. I believe it has a batting average above 300 against it. So he's trying to find a second pitch to throw against righties. We know against lefties he has that dominant changeup that he does feel comfortable against. So he could go four-seam fastball, changeup, and even curveball against lefties when he wants to. But right now he really only has a four-seam fastball and an iffy slider against right-handers. So if they do load up a lineup against him, and I believe the Cardinals did that, that was full of righties, or maybe the Diamondbacks did, that's full of righties, he might have a difficult time. And I do wonder if in this offseason they're going to try to work his repertoire and work that current slider that's at 89 miles per hour into a cutter, something that's a little bit more flat, and maybe work on a pitch that does have a little bit more depth, a more natural slider where you're taking a little bit off, maybe closer to 85 to 84 miles per hour, and trying to get some spin on that. He has thrown 3 sweepers this year that StatCast has qualified as sweepers. Nothing really to write home about, but maybe they do try to make that more of an effort where they are trying to find something slower that does kind of whiff away from righties to that other batter's box to play off that four-seam fastball. Going in a little bit too on his pitches, looking at Stuff Plus, he has a below-average fastball. It was only at 91 for Stuff Plus. Major League average is 100. So the fact that he's throwing, a thing that's nearly 10% worse than Major League average, nearly like 44% of the time of his starts, I feel like that's just a recipe for disaster. I think the four-seam fastball is fine, and it's good against bad hitting fastball teams. There have been times where he's done really well against Minnesota, Cleveland, not Colorado, but Kansas City, Miami, those teams he's had really good fastballs against, and I think that's mainly just because those teams are poor hitting fastballs teams. But it's a pitch that fluctuates. He is a player that's never pitched above AAA, so him, having fluctuation shouldn't be anything that worries you. But you're just wondering, can this be somebody that can flash those 9 games that he did early in the season consistently and put a whole entire season together? It's just about, for at least Shane Smith, getting to the end of the year for him. It's about getting innings pitched and staying on the roster so the Sox gain complete control of him. They gain the minor league options of him. They'll gain 5 years of service time for him after he pitches this 1 year. I am a little bit concerned that, the next 15 games from him, because he's already made 15 starts, the next 15 starts for him are going to be a little rocky. It seems like he's mainly pitching on Mondays and Tuesdays. If he starts a series on that Monday, starts a series like he is today on a Tuesday, you're not going to be seeing him 5 days from now, right? If a guy pitches on a Monday or Tuesday to start the series, you're typically going to see him in that Sunday. He's not pitching that Sunday. He's going to be that next week. Since June, he's been on either a Monday or Tuesday start. he's basically a glorified college pitcher at this point, a guy that is your Friday starter. He's very good, and when he goes out there, he can be trusted, but he's going to need a lot of care, a lot of maintenance. This is like still driving around a car from 1990 around as your everyday car in 2025. It's, something with potential, maybe, if you build it up and fix her up. But I think that Smith right now, especially against the Dodgers, it might look ugly tonight, because this is somebody that is trying to find their way. And as Rick Hahn once famously said, progression is not linear. This does feel like it's about to be a little bit of a drop-off for Shane Smith. And he had such a high peak, too. This kid went from Double-A, a Rule 5 pick, unprotected by the Brewers, to our ace in 9 games. Feels a little bit inflated, and I just don't want anyone to be scared by the come down, because it feels like that come down is inevitable for a Rule 5 pick. The stuff is interesting. The player is really interesting, but 2025 is not going to be the best year of his career, and you just got to remind yourself that when you start seeing the struggles, remember that he really hasn't even thrown over, I think, like 94 pitches or 94 innings in a single season. He's already at, I think, 77. So today, when he crosses 3 innings pitch, he's going to be passing 80 innings pitch for the second time in his life. This is still a very newborn-esque chicken type player. This is somebody that's being incubated and cared for, and it's going to be a long time till he spreads his wing, but he's going to be a beautiful chicken. Is the point. So be excited for our beautiful chicken, Shane Smith. I don't think today will look good for Smith, but again, I think there is a ton of potential for him. Also interesting, on StatCast, there is the heart. There's zones, right, of the strike zone. So picture a normal 3x3, the 9-box strike zone, right? Anything in that would be the heart. And then anything like outside of that that's kind of like a fringy pitch is the shadow. He has 13 pitcher runs in the heart and shadow. That would be tied for 68th with starting pitchers this year, which might sound a little iffy, but that's up there with where Dylan Cease is right now. And this is a guy that has never pitched at the AAA level. The results that you've gotten so far should be intriguing, and I'm excited to watch Shane Smith's next 4 years of his career, because if he pitches really well in those next 4 years, he might be getting traded. I'll keep an eye out as well for the Dodgers lineup. No Dodger lineup has appeared just yet. I'm interested to see if they will be lining up on lefties or not. Oh, here we go. We got the Dodgers lineup. There we go. Ohtani's leading off. Leonard saying betting the Ohtani homer tonight, easy money. Moreno also saying, yeah, I'm sure he hits 3 home runs in the series. Hopefully no one's on base. Ohtani's leading off. He's your DH. Freeman is your first baseman, batting second. Batting third, Will Smith is your catcher. Batting fourth, Max Muncy, your third baseman. Teoscar Hernandez is your right fielder, batting fifth. Andy Pages is your center fielder, batting sixth. Michael Conforto is your left fielder, batting seventh. Tommy Edman is your second baseman, batting eighth. And Hyesung Kim, or I think that's the right Kim. My bad. Kim is at shortstop. I think Ohtani, Freeman, Muncy, Pages, Conforto, and Edman are lefties. So he kind of gets off a little scot-free. I think Edman's a switch hitter, but point regardless, he'll be batting lefty. I think we're going to see a decent amount of changeups today for Shane Smith. So I think the first time through the order might be pleasant to him. Let's watch out for the second time. That might be the time that Ohtani hits his home run. So, hey, what's this? 13:48. Sarah, can we clip this? 13:48 into the episode. Shohei Ohtani in his second at-bat against Shane Smith will hit a home run. I did not put that in our boosted parlay for Bet365 later tonight. But if you are going to be betting a home run like Leonard Gore or Moreno, I think once he sees him, I think Shane might get bitten. So, I don't think that the Ohtani home run is too far off of a bet. But the issue with him is, I don't even check the number. I think it's probably at like plus 185 for him to homer. It's not even a fun number to bet. So that's why you got to get real niche with it. Second at bat against Shane Smith, Ohtani will go deep. I hope we can make a short of that. That would be a fun aggregation, if I'm right. Maybe it won't be fun because the White Sox will be giving up a homer. Maybe he just strikes him out 3 times. We have to take a break. We are going to be joined by a CHGO Diehard right after the break. One of our favorites, Sox Mom 72, here on the CHGO White Sox podcast, presented to you by Bet365. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where you can explore a wide variety of high premium cannabis products, and you can be helped by expert bud tenders over at Sunnyside. Head over to sunnyside.shop. If you're a new user, you get 50% off your first 3 online purchases with code HICHGO. If you've already used our code, if you're already a proud member of Sunnyside, existing users use code CHGO50 for 50% off one Cresco Lab branded item. Sunnyside is Illinois' favorite dispensary. They have lovely locations in the city like River North and Wrigleyville, out in the suburbs like Champaign and South Beloit. I love their Elmwood Park location. Head over to sunnyside.shop for Bright Buys every day. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, Bright Buys every day, only for 21 plus or Illinois medical card holders. We also want to let you know about our friends over at Empire Today. 588-2300 Empire Today. You don't have to go to a big box store and get dizzy by all the options. You won't be helped at a big box store either. Those big box store employees are bouncing around from department to department. You can get plants and plumbing and paint all in one store. That's probably great for a crafty handyman. You are not an expert, though, in flooring. Who's going to install those floors into your home? Who's going to help you select out those floors? An expert over from Empire. You get a free in-home estimate where they get to show you all these beautiful samples, how they would match up with your furniture, with your baseboards, your crown molding. It's fun to stay at home, and you get a $350 off discount with our friends over at Empire by using code CHGO, a $350 off discount. Head over to empiretoday.com/CHGO for full details. Restrictions apply. Back here on the CHGO White Sox podcast, presented to you by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary with our friends over at Bet365. Use code CHGO365 when you sign up. A couple of weeks ago, we were honored to have Spirit Week go on at CHGO, where we were trying to raise money for Big Brothers, Big Sisters of America. We were able, as a company of ALLCITY, to raise over $10,000. Thank you to all of our viewers out there. And a part of Spirit Week, we had Diehard Day. We didn't get the chance to celebrate our diehards that week. So now we're doing that today. You can become a diehard over at allchgo.com/join if you want to be like our favorite Sox Mom 72, who has gone to, I think, every single White Sox event or most of the Sox events that we have thrown. She is always hanging out in the diehard Discord. She is one of my favorite Sox fans out there. Hello to Melissa.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm excited. I'm so excited to be here.
We're excited to have you. And it was great to see Sage, your son, setting up the whole setup for you. Are you in your White Sox room right now as we speak?
Actually, I'm in his White Sox room right now because my daughter is home taking up my White Sox room. So
2 separate White Sox rooms. That's what we need right there. Very
nice.
nice.
And then I have a she cave too. I have a my own cave in the basement with all my stuff too. So I got a lot repping in the house.
Very cool. What's behind you? Is that a Jim Thome cutout?
It is a Jim Thome cutout.
Okay.
Yes.
All I can see is his wrist, his arm, and his leg. And I'm glad I can still recognize that as Jim Thome. What's your favorite piece of memorabilia then down in your she cave? What's the thing that really brings a smile to your face?
I have a chair from Old Comiskey, and then I have 2 blue chairs from New Comiskey right next to each other. And then I have all of my stuff piled all over it. But I really love my Old Comiskey chair. I mean, it means a ton to me, just all the memories from the old park, and makes me a little nostalgic whenever I see it.
Do you remember your first game then? I remember my first game at New Comiskey. It would have been an 11-2 drubbing by the Los Angeles Angels. Garrett Anderson had a great day for the Halos, and that's what made me a Sox fan. Do you remember your first experience at Old Comiskey?
I do. And fortunately, I didn't have a drudging. I had probably, you couldn't have asked for a better first game. September 7th, 1983. I'm 11 years old. My stepdad and my mom took me, and the Sox were down 6-7 in the 9th. Greg Luzinski hits a home run to tie it. And then Harold Baines hits a single and drives in Julio Cruz to win the game in the 10th. I mean, it was magical. It was 1983. 10 days later, they captured the championship, and it was pretty cool to be a fan back then.
Before we get into the 83 team, because I don't have memories of that team, so you being 11, they probably imprinted so much on
Yeah.
Melissa's brain. Was the Luzinski homer the first of that game? Was that the first time you got to see the exploding fire scoreboard? Or was that, did you see that prior?
That's a really good question. I'm trying to think. I think it was because I know Fisk hit a double, but I don't think Fisk had a home run. So yeah, I don't think anybody else had one either. So I mean, the place was packed. It was just amazing.
You said versus Oakland, the 7th?
Yes.
Okay, well, let's see. Now I got to see who hit a homer.
Yeah, you got to look and see if there was any
Yeah, no,
home runs.
well, you got someone steal home. That was, I
Oh,
guess,
wow.
an athletic. An athletic stole home.
That's probably why I don't remember.
Oh, Carlton Fisk had a homer.
Oh, we did? I
Yeah.
remember him hitting a double, but I didn't remember him hitting a home run. So,
Bottom of the 6th.
and
Hey,
that's terrible because he's my favorite player.
Baines or Fisk?
Fisk.
Okay, because I see the Baines
Yeah.
one behind you, but again, that could be Sage's. Yeah,
That is, yes.
we've kind of repaired our Carlton Fisk.
I have that one.
The Sox just shared a drawing of Carlton on his motorcycle.
That was
what
really cool.
drew you to Carlton? Because he's my dad's favorite player too. So tapping into 11-year-old Melissa's mind, what made 72 your favorite?
So a couple of things. The first thing was his family lived in Lockport, right? So he was kind of like a local, I guess. I went to Joliet West High School too. And so his son, Casey, I think was like a year or two older than me. And so we played them in baseball. And so Casey, like Carlton would go watch Casey. So you could like go to a Lockport game and you could like see him like hanging out, over in the corner of the chain link fence, looking all like intimidating and stuff as Carlton did because he was like so tall and he always had that like serious look on his face. And so even though I was terrified and I never had the courage to go talk to him, he just like the way he played the game and the way he just, it was just old school, hard nosed baseball. And I just loved that. Like my 11-year-old self was just super excited about like that type of baseball. You would think I would like all the like goofy kind of stuff, but I didn't. I was like hardcore baseball. That's me.
Absolutely. And going back to that 83 team, winning ugly, what really captured that team, or what captured Chicago about that team? Because we're going to be doing a what if series. And one of it is like, what if the White Sox won the American League pennant in 83? How looking back on all the teams that you've gone through, like, is that the team that you feel just like should have had a chance, or like, what if, like, is that one of the biggest teams that you look back on, like, oh, they were so close?
Yeah. I mean, I think because too, it had been so long too, since Chicago, had been close to anything, that it was just like this euphoria that you can't really explain because, then 10 years later in 93, you're like, oh, well, we'd just been there, I've just been there 10 years ago. But as compared to 1959 and 1983, like that's a huge time span. So I think like euphoria around, because the Cubs were bad, like baseball in Chicago was not good. And so when that 83 team just kind of came out of nowhere after the break, it was just the energy and excitement, I think, around baseball in Chicago in general was just something unlike the other teams. I mean, until obviously 2005. I mean, that was a whole different vibe. But I think, yeah, to me, 83 will always be that team because they were my first, playoff team and I was a young kid. And so as exciting as 2005 was, 83 will always be it for me.
Well, and I get that too, because 8-year-old me jumped ship, or I guess 7-year-old me jumped ship from Cubs to Sox, and the first year I'm a Sox fan, they win it all. So
right?
it's kind of tough to beat that. I got sick of all the losing, and then of course after 87 years of losing, they finally break the curse. It's a great segue into what I wanted to talk about next, which was the 05 team. What was your favorite memory of 05? Like, was it in the regular season? Was it one of the postseason games? What is the memory that sticks out from '05 for you?
So my husband and I were fortunate enough to go to the ALDS game one against Boston. And I mean, holy cow, that was just a beating. And I mean, it was just, the scoring runs after runs after runs, 14 runs. You can't really beat that when it comes to a playoff game. And I had never been to a winning playoff game before because I'd been in 93 and they'd lost to the Blue Jays. I unfortunately didn't get to go in 83 to any of the games. But it, I don't know. It was really unbelievable. You're kind of like shaking your head, like, this is Boston, right? They just won the World Series. They just broke the curse. Could we really be doing that? So like my favorite baseball moment from 2005 was that because I was there. But I have a really cool story related to the 2005 team. So Sage, who was also a diehard, loves himself some CHGO too. He was born premature. He was only 2 pounds, 15 ounces, and he actually got really sick when he was in the NICU after being born. And the day we found out like how sick he was, we were like leaving the unit to kind of take a break. And I have my White Sox World Series sweatshirt on. All of a sudden I hear this, oh my God, we've got a White Sox fan here. And it was the trophy. They were taking the trophy to the children's hospital in Peoria. I mean, we don't live near Chicago, so we're in Peoria. And this random day in February, the trophy happens to be in the children's hospital the day we find out that Sage could be really, really sick. They give me the trophy. They're taking pictures. They give me a picture. They're like, we'll send you the picture too. And like my mom and my husband looked at me and they're like, everything's going to be okay. Like that would not have happened if everything was not going to be okay. Next day, turn the corner, everything was okay. I mean, it's just surreal. So I didn't get to like see the trophy. Like I literally had it on my lap. I was holding it, taking pictures with it. It was just unbelievably surreal.
Well, and yeah, everything's okay because now he's setting up the computer for you, and he's like 6+ feet tall. I mean, it's crazy that he went from 2 pounds to he's taller than me. It's insane. I'm not tall, but whatever. It's a great way to lift your spirits.
Magical. Yeah, it was, and like then the next day in his little incubator, a World Series baseball showed up. So like
very cool.
A nurse, an angel, or somebody, put that in there for him, and so he still has that on his shelf. So in addition to the cool part of them winning and all of that, and getting to go to one of the playoff games, it came really full circle for us. And then now he's a diehard White Sox fan, of course, and curses me all the time because of it.
Yeah, hopefully soon he can get his own win and experience all that. And it's not just stories. I mean, that probably feels like what the '85 Bears feel like to me. Right? Where you hear all the stories. He got all this memorabilia in his room. Let's talk a little bit about the team because obviously it's not '05 levels of excitement. Is there anyone on this team, minor leagues, major leagues, that has you excited, or is it tough to be a Sox fan right now?
It is tough to be a Sox fan, but I do like to always try and I always try to support the players because to me, they're just trying to make their dreams come true. Right. And as a mom, that's what any mom wants for her kid is to make their dreams come true. And so by covering the minors, like that's one of the favorite things that I do over at Southside Sox because it's just a bunch of young guys grinding, trying to make their dreams come true. So, at the big league level, I have a thing for catchers. So but Edgar Caro is my favorite. I know a lot of people love Teal and his energy, and that's fun too. Like I love that. But Edgar Caro, to me, he seems to be that kind of guy who's just like, give me all of it. Like I want to learn all of it. I want to, take it all in. When we met him at Sox Fest, he was literally like wandering around Sox Fest, just like taking it all in and enjoying the moment. And, interacting with fans. Like Sage walked up to him and talked to him and took a picture with him. He was just, I don't know, he seemed like a kid in a candy shop. And I just loved that about him. So I'm really pulling for him. Love Chase Meidroth too. He's, tons of fun. But from the minor league side, Braden Montgomery, met him at Sox Fest too. The kid is special. He really has the chance to be, the most important piece coming out of that Garrett Crochet trade. I think he he could be our, our next franchise player. Let's cross all of our digits. But yeah.
Hopefully we get a right fielder finally.
Anytime we think we have that and we're like, oh crud, not again. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great crop. I am surprised too that Teal's not your favorite. I mean, the one thing about Caro that just consistently surprises me is that he's the youngest player on the entire team, youngest catcher at the major league level. He's just so young, and I think it's just tough to kind of truly realize how young he was and how much success he was having at those minor league levels. It should click for him when he's 25 in 3 years.
But I mean, when you put it in that perspective and think of what he's doing right now, and working with these pitchers, and, obviously he has, some places to grow, which, most of these young guys that we have now on the team do, but he just, to me, I think he'll do it. He just seems to have that the will to win kind of thing, in a quiet way. So
the TWTW. We always love Hawk.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. And we love Melissa here. We love Sox Mom 72, one of our favorite diehards. I felt a little guilty saying favorite diehard, so I'll walk that back because I feel like that's picking favorite children. But one of our favorite diehards that has been to a ton of takeovers that we've had at Sox Park. Very excited that she's always hanging out with us in our Discord. Thank you so much for joining us, Melissa. It was great to talk to you and catch up.
Yes, you're welcome. And we need to do, I know it's hard when the team is so stinky, but we do need to do another takeover. We got to get together again. That was a lot of fun. So be a diehard, join.
I'll get them going for 2026. We'll get back out there.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we're excited for that, and you make them a ton of fun. We got to take a break here on the CHGO White Sox podcast presented by Bet365. We'll talk a little bit about prospects after the break, and thank you to Melissa for joining us.
Thanks, Sean.
Do you know what doesn't belong in your epic summer plans? An overpriced wireless bill. You want to be planning summer barbecues. You want to be making 3-day family trips on the weekends. You want to be making beach trips. Cut out the overpriced wireless plan and say hello to Mint Mobile. You get to keep your phone, contacts, and phone numbers. The only thing that changes is your wireless bill decreases. For a limited time, for 3 months, you can pay $15 a month for unlimited wireless with our friends over at Mint Mobile. Say bye-bye to overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping bills, and unexpected overages. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you. Head over to mintmobile.com/White Sox to check out their new customer offer with 3 months unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month. Upfront payment of $45 required. Limited time new customer offer for 35 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabits on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. Visit mintmobile.com/White Sox. We also want to let you know about our friends over at Bet365. I sent in a boosted parlay with our friends over at Bet365. Fingers crossed they approve it. I'm feeling a little bit of iffy on Shane Smith's hits. I'm feeling a little bit of iffy that Yoshinobu Yamamoto will not be walking the pond today. I also think that the Dodgers will have a walk given up to Mike Tauchman. We boosted that, I think, above 500, 5-1 right there over at Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. New customers now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Sign up, use the code CHGO365, deposit $10, and place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. Again, go check out my boosted parlay for tonight's Dodgers-Sox game. Breaking news. For Bet365, new customers now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Use our code CHGO365 when you sign up. Must be 21 plus. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER. In-app only. Bet365, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary. Back here on the CHGO White Sox podcast presented to you by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary with our friends over at Bet365. Again, thank you to Melissa for joining us, our pal Sox Mom 72, one of our favorite CHGO diehards. If you do want to join our diehard Discord, if you want exclusive access to our written content on allchgo.com, if you want a shirt when you sign up, you can join this great intro offer, the Make Your Move intro offer for $36. The annual pass is usually $80. We got a deal right now for $36 that you can join at allchgo.com/join. Thank you to Melissa for joining us. She is like the exact, what's it called? Personification of a diehard, perfect example.
Oh my God, yeah, she's the sweetest,
and she knows her stuff, and she's lived the entire gambit of experiences, like, I mean,
she just loves the White Sox.
I love somebody that's gone through 83 and 94 and 05 and, the recent rebuild. It's great to talk about that. Before we get into some prospects, I do want to talk about the White Sox lineup for tonight. We did give you the Dodgers lineup. Leading off for the Sox, DH Mike Tauchman. Batting second, shortstop Chase Mydroth. Batting third, left fielder Andrew Benintendi. Batting fourth, first baseman Miguel Vargas. We'll talk about him in a second. Batting fifth, catcher Kyle Teal. Batting sixth, second baseman Lenyn Sosa. Batting seventh, third baseman Josh Rojas. Batting eighth, Brooks Baldwin, center fielder. Welcome back, Brooks Baldwin, with Luis Robert Jr. being on the IL, and batting ninth, right fielder Michael A. Taylor. Kyle Teal batting fifth and catching. Uncle Ted is back. Hey, he said the White Sox could have had Spencer Jones, Ben Rice, and Clark Schmidt for Crochet, but no, they needed a 700 OPS bats. I don't know why they would have wanted that. Clark Schmidt has years of service time already, so he'd only have 4 years of control. That makes zero sense. I'd rather Wikelman Gonzalez, who has 6 years of control. He's not there at the major league level yet, but I think he's younger than Clark Schmidt. Spencer Jones is 24 years old at a AAA level. Teal and Chase Mydroth are both here at the major league level, and Ben Rice is 26 years old. Braden Montgomery's 21, or if you want to compare Jones to Montgomery's 21 and a switch hitter. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm totally fine with getting 4 players instead of those 3 players right there, Uncle Ted. But you can be sarcastic and act like a know-it-all all you want. Why am I blacking out here? All right. Anyways, let's move on. There is also the 05 Forever documentary that's out there. You can go check that out. There's part 1. I know part 2 is coming out on Thursday if you do want to relive some of the 05 stuff that we were talking about. Let's jump into some Miguel Vargas talk. Vargas will be batting fourth today for the Sox, playing first base. The Dodgers, according to Francis Romero, the Dodgers will be giving Miguel Vargas a 2024 World Series ring during the White Sox visit to Los Angeles starting this Tuesday. Again, Vargas was traded in July of 2024, but he will be getting his own World Series ring. Shout out to our guy, Miguel Vargas. Vargas, in the past 60 games, 59, so 60 games since April 23rd, a 9.8 walk rate, 14.7% K rate, a 131 weighted runs created plus. He's only one of 47 hitters in Major League Baseball that out of 163 that are above a 130 weighted runs created plus. He has been a joy to watch. He's been so fun to take over third base and even move over to first base and do it well. The fact that they wanted to keep him at one position last year seemed a little forced. Because the Dodgers were putting him in every single position. It seemed like they wanted him to get comfortable at third base, and it seemed kind of odd that they were walking back on that once he finally found his stride. But the fact that he's found his stride, has been able to play third and first, look comfortable at both places, has been very exciting. I think he leads the White Sox in WAR at both third base and first base. When you're competing with Andrew Vaughn and Tim Elko, it's not that tough, and Ryan Noda, but still, he leads the White Sox at third base and first base in WAR. Just kind of talking about how great Vargas has been for the Sox. So exciting to see him return and maybe revenge game for our guy Miguel Vargas tonight against the Dodgers. Let's talk a little bit about some prospects. There's one guy that's making a ton of noise at the AA level. Tanner McDougal, who was a 5th round selection in 2021, high school selection out of Silverado High School in Las Vegas. He's a guy that has dealt with Tommy John surgery, didn't pitch in 22 because of Tommy John, and then had to work his way back. Pitched in Kannapolis in 2023, 69 and a third innings. Then in 2024, 92 and a third innings, and that was at Single A and Advanced A. And then this year in 2025, already 73 innings pitched for Tanner McDougal, 16 starts this year. Last year was at 22. The previous year, 21. So he's nearly at 20 starts already. And he's gotten the call up to Birmingham after 13 great starts in Winston-Salem. He's been phenomenal. 15 and a third innings pitched, 3 games, 23 strikeouts, 6 walks, a 1.76 ERA. It's exciting, mainly because he's only 22 years old. He's 6'5", and the big thing that was touted about McDougal when he was coming out from Silverado was his ability to spin the ball. It seems like he has high velocity or high spin rates on his curveball, his slider, his four-seam fastball. If this is a guy that's able to put it together, he could be a monster for the Sox. And I think the biggest thing is, even though he had Tommy John and missed 2022 because of it, it seems like he has come back fairly strong. And We talk about Shane Smith. Davis Martin's had this issue. Crochet, the fact that he's had 69, 92, he'll easily get over 100. It seems like a guy that doesn't have an issue taking on innings. It seems like he has a body that is ready for starting pitching. So this is a guy that has kind of come onto the scene, leveling up. I know Trey Williams, great Sox fan, put out today like a top 38 of White Sox prospects, and he had McDougal in the top 10. That made me question, like, is that right or not? I think Christian Opora is still a better prospect than Tanner McDougal, just because he is only 20 years old. McDougal's a little over 22. Opora is at a younger level right now at advanced day, and it hasn't been the cleanest for him. But the fact that he's a lefty, he throws 95, has a nasty changeup, has a nasty slider. I think I'm more interested in Opora's potential than McDougal. But the fact that you have McDougal, you have Opora, you have Mason Adams, who is Tommy John, but I still think highly of. I thought that he possibly could have been making the rotation on opening day, or even this year if he wasn't injured. There's some guys even behind Hagen and Noah Schultz that could be rotation pieces for the White Sox. They obviously have to focus on hitting. Chris Getz said that they will at the Major League Draft coming up in about 2 weeks or so. So we'll see what they do at that 10 spot. But this pick at 10, the pick at, I think, 42 in the second round, and then next year where they might get the number 1 overall pick or a top 3 pick, you got to hit on them. I know it's kind of, you got to hit on them every single year, but there are definitely times where it's less important. When you're getting in the top 10, you got to hit on them. The Sox have not hit on them last couple. Hagen, Vaughn, Madrigal, revolting. So this is a really big draft for Chris Getz because it seems like they have the pitching side figured out. Now it's about getting hitters to load up this team because I'm kind of sick of watching one-run games be lost by an offense not being able to score runs, being 5-20. Let's get some talent on this team, and hopefully the draft will be a big boon for the Sox. All right, Sox start July with 3 games against the Dodgers. We've done this before where we've tried to predict the White Sox record in a month. There is the All-Star break as well this month around the 14th, I guess that game will be played. 14th will be the Home Run Derby, and then the 15th will be the actual All-Star game. But we have 3 games against Los Angeles, then 3 games in Colorado, then 3 games against Toronto, then 4 games against Cleveland to close out the first half. On this 6-game road trip, the White Sox will go Shane Smith versus Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Sean Burke versus Clayton Kershaw, Aaron Savale versus Dustin May. I think the White Sox will get swept by the Dodgers. I think this will be a fairly ugly outing for the Sox. I don't think this is going to be, Los Angeles is going to be too kind to the Chicago White Sox. However, you got Hauser versus Senzatella, you got Cannon versus Marquez, and you got Shane Smith versus Chase Dollander. That could be fun. I'd be surprised if Smith ends up pitching on Sunday. But I think the Sox at least take 2 or 3 from Colorado. Colorado is bad, and I think the Sox, being in inflated Colorado, can hopefully be helped. No Luis Robert Jr. in that series, so maybe that could be a big boon, a downside for them. But I think they're 3-1 since he's been gone, so maybe not that big of a hamstring, anyways. And then on Monday, Monday the 7th, you got 3 games against Toronto. I think they'll likely go 1-2 against Toronto. So 3-6 so far. Then I think they probably go 2-2 against Cleveland. So 5-7 there heading into the All-Star break. Then they have 3 against Pittsburgh. Let's say they'll be 7-9. 7-9. Then 3 games against Tampa, 3 games against Chicago, the Cubs, and then 3 games against Philly. I think they'll be under 500. I think probably 5 games under 500. 5 games under 500. 5 games under 500. I don't think this is going to be that good of a month for the Sox. I think their best chance to go over 500 was in May, and that got squashed. But I think we're not going to see a sub-10 loss team under 500. As long as we can avoid 21-game losing streaks and 8-game losing streaks. We should be fine. Hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already. Thank you to Sarah for producing the show. I'm Sean Anderson, your CHGO White Sox host. Thank you to Melissa for joining us, our CHGO Diehard. If you do want to sign up, you can make your move and sign up for an annual pass at $36 a month. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll be talking about the game that happens tonight, and we'll also be previewing the game for tomorrow. Clayton Kershaw is 3 strikeouts away from 3,000 in his career. We will play the fun game of who will be struck out for 3,000. We'll see you then on tomorrow's show at Tuesday at 5. Bye.
We all silly like the mayor.